You're right, guys. Welcome to Football and Fitness United. My name's James, for those of you that don't know, and we're here with Tone to discuss the team news that's just been released from Goodison Park. So first things first, how are you doing, mate?
Very good. How about yourself?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. A little bit shocked by the team news, but I'm sure we'll get into that. So I'm just going to put the team across the bottom of the screen now, if you've not seen it. So we've got De Gea in goal. We've got Dalot, Martinez, Lindelof, and Shaw at the back. We've got a midfield three of Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. Then we've got Rashford, Antony, and Martial as the front three. Substitutes are Heaton, Malacia, Varane, Fred, McTominay, Elanga, Palestri, Sancho, and Ronaldo. Right, let's unpick that, mate. First thoughts. Come at me.
I think after the talk we had the other day, after Omnia, we were saying we pretty much agreed on this starting lineup. I think besides one player, and that player being Casemiro. So after talking to you, I did actually think that we were going to start McTominay. I thought it's logical, isn't it? You know what I mean? He's been playing in the league. Casemiro's not had the minutes. It's intriguing. I like to see how he does well. Obviously, I hope he does well for us to get 3 points against a team where I looked at the stats about Everton in the last few games that we played against them, particularly at Goodison, and we haven't beat them at Goodison in the last 2 years. I think 2020 was the last time. So it's going to be an intriguing game.
It will for sure, mate. Yeah, I think we've had 2 draws, 2 defeats in our last 4 there. So it's always a tough place to go. The stadium's relatively small. Everyone's quite close to the pitch, and the atmosphere can get up if you let it. So it's a really interesting team selection. Listen, obviously, we all wanted Varane to be fit. We all saw the drop off when Lindelof came on for the Ammonia game. So yes, of course, we wanted Varane, but he's obviously just not been able to recover in time. So that picks itself. I think we both agreed that Shaw had to come in for Malacia. Malacia's had 2 poor games. So talk to me about that. Do you think that's the right decision with Luke Shaw?
I think Malacia's a young enough player where I don't think it's going to kill his ego. And good competition is good competition. I know that sounds stupid, but it's good that we've got these 2 very competent left backs. They're both different in unique. They have unique qualities. I think Luke Shaw's a lot more attacking capable, which I think is and he's a lot more established as a player. Like, he's got a lot more minutes under his belt. He's a lot more he's got a lot more bumps on the road, if that makes any sense. Whereas Malacia, it's fine that he's going to make these mistakes. He's a young lad. He's just come into the club. It's a new country. It's a new league. It's a new system for him. I think he had a brilliant couple of games, and we can't deny that against Liverpool. I think he was one of the contenders for man of the match against Liverpool. He's brilliant. But I think, like you said, the last 2 games he's had this drop off. He hasn't been up to the quality of what we need at left back. And I think Luke Shaw, he's got a point to prove to everyone, and hopefully tonight he brings on, because I think the second half against Omnia, he came on and he did a very professional job.
Yeah. Listen, with Luke Shaw, I actually think he's a very much a Ten Hag style fullback. I think he's excellent in the build-up play. I think he's very good on the ball. He can overlap. He can run up and down the touchline all day. And it's a strange one because everyone talks about, whenever you bring up Luke Shaw, they're like, oh, but he's been here 7-8 years. He's done nothing. And it's like, people don't use that same energy at the moment for Martial when he's in form, or Rashford, or any other player. And it seems a bit strange because it's like, clean slates for everyone, then clean slates for everyone, right? Like, that includes Luke Shaw, that includes Scott McTominay, that includes Anthony Martial, and it includes Marcus Rashford, and it should include people like Harry Maguire too. Like, you should judge based on performance, right? And I would say that Luke Shaw rightly was dropped at the start of the season. Malacia came in, played very, very well, deserved his spot, like you said, against Liverpool, superb. And then he had a poor performance in the derby, and he had a poor performance against Ammonia. So at the end of the day, it's like, right, that's what competition's there for. When one of you drops off, the other one should step in, and then it's their shirt to lose. And we'll move on to the midfield now, because I kind of think that's what's happened here. And McTominay's been playing well all season. Like, forget Brentford and Brighton. Yeah. But since then, McTominay's been playing really well all season, right? And Ten Hag's basically like, yeah, Casemiro is a great signing, but Scott's playing well. And the way I saw it, he wasn't going to change it until Scott didn't play well. And Scott didn't play well in the derby, right? So rightly so, Casemiro then comes in for the Ammonia game, because we've got 8 or 9 games in a month. and we need that rotation. And he's been brought in for 70 million euros, and rightly so, he should come in. You've then got to look at it and say, did he do enough to keep his place? And the majority of the United fan base will look at the name on the back of the shirt and say yes. And to be fair, Ten Hag has said yes because he's kept his place.
Yeah.
I just don't think against a team that was fourth or fifth in the Cypriot League, and his job is to screen the back four, a back four that conceded 2 goals, by the way. I just don't think he did enough to justify a start. But listen, that might be just me, and I might get a lot of hate for that.
I think at the moment, I think he's got to start justifying that price tag at some point. And I don't think Everton's the right game for that to begin that justification. But time will tell. I would have personally, after thinking about it a bit longer and a bit of a, obviously not with that recency bias in my eyes after the initial thoughts against Omnia, I would have still started McTominay. I think the derby was a complete. There's a lot of variables that went into that performance, and I don't think McTominay was the fault at that game. I think there's a lot of other reasons for it, but defensively, I think Casemiro still leaves a lot to be desired. Attacking wise, he does give us that extra threat with the balls that he plays. It's going to be interesting to see. I think there's a lot of things today that I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how Lindelof does in his first Premier League game in quite a while. I'm interested to see how Luke Shaw does, because Omnia's Omnia, like we said, I think they finished 7th in the Cypriot League. They got, so it's mad. And it's just there like, come on. Like, we can all look at it and go, yeah, it was a win. But a team of Man United stature should be beating Omnia comprehensively. Like 3-2 isn't a comprehensive scoreline in a lot of ways. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm really happy to see the front three. That is the front three that I think is the optimum front three for Ten Hag's football. I think it's the most exciting front three we have, and on form anyway. And maybe not on paper, but it's going to be interesting against a very good Everton team who've not lost a game in the last 5.
Right, so let's touch on the Everton team, actually, because people were calling for the sack for Frank Lampard not so long ago. And whether by hook or by crook or by luck, he's kind of happened upon a midfield trio that kind of works really well for him. So when we were talking about that Scott or Casemiro debate, it's like that midfield is going to be really important because they are tough. They get through a lot of work. And yeah, they've got people that can hurt you, Malpay loves a goal. They've got people that can do damage. So what are your general thoughts on Everton?
I actually have a few friends who are Toffees, so I've kind of asked them their thoughts on the season, because I do like to keep an interest around teams in the Premier League. Yeah, I don't go wrong. Everton are a semi-big team. They've got a good fan base. I like Everton's team. I like some of Everton's players. I like Jordan Pickford in goal. I think he could be a future United goalkeeper. I know people laugh at me and say that, but I think he's got a lot of qualities that you need in a goal. He's going to start for England at the Euros, at the World Cup, sorry. Maybe the back four is a little bit off. I wouldn't really think anyone theirs will be in quality, but, established professional defenders. The midfield, like you said, Iwobi, I forgot who else it is. Let me just double check.
Iwobi. I'm guessing, I've not seen their team that's starting, but I guess it's Onana, Iwobi, and oh gosh, the third one escapes me, but I'm sure you'll pull it up. But they're really combative.
It's Onana, Guy, and Iwobi. And then front three. Interesting guy. And the front three, Anthony Gordon, Mopé, and Damari Gray, 3 very attacking-minded players that can score. Anthony Gordon was pretty much this close to going to Chelsea in the summer for £60 million.
Crazy.
So yeah, whether or not that's justified or not, but he looks like an exciting player. A lot of Everton fans do rate him very highly.
Yeah, absolutely crazy that he was going to go for that much money. Not for me, but we've got a few people watching, guys. If you want to get in the comments, like, are you happy with the team? Are you not happy with the team? Do you think Ten Hag's got it right? Also, let's have a look at what's your predictions. Do you think we're going to win, lose, or draw? Like Tone said, I think we're winless in the last 4. Everton haven't lost the last 5 or whatever. So it's going to be tough. So get your predictions in down there. Raz in the comments, big up, man. Remember you from UV days. So evening to yourself. Hope you're having a good one. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. So you said it's the front three that we want to see. talk to me about that front three. Did Sancho deserve to be dropped? What does Rashford bring? What does Martial bring? And what does Anthony bring to the team?
The Martial Rashford link up play is just, you can see those two are like yin and yang. They love playing together. They love collaborating with each other. Honestly, a dead cert for a bet for me is them assisting each other, one or the other. Like, it's going to happen tonight at some point. Those two are just magic on the pitch. And I think Everton, their defence is probably their weak spot, in my opinion. They've got, Pickford's a very good goalkeeper, but I think if we get through that midfield, those two can attack, and with the addition of Anthony, who could cut in on his left, it's exciting. This is the most exciting front three for us at the moment. In regards to Sancho, though, I think Sancho's one of those where we all can see the potential. We can all see that he's got the potential to be a brilliant player, and we've seen it in glimpses, we've seen it in flashes, but he's got that dilemma where it's same thing with Rashford and Martial in the past, where they're hot and cold. I was talking to you on Thursday about it, where there's moments where you think this is the guy, and then there's other times where you go, who is this guy? He wouldn't look out of place in a team like in the bottom half, and it's just there. Like right now, United have to challenge for something, and if Sancho's not up to the scratch, no player's undroppable. I don't think in this United team, bar maybe one or two.
Yeah, it is a strange one. It's going to be really interesting. I was just looking up the Premier League table then, because I just wanted to see what a win could do for each kind of team. So we've played 7, and we're on 12 points. We could move up to 15, obviously, with a win, which will put us in 5th, having played a game less than Newcastle and the same games as Chelsea, so 1 point behind Chelsea. So in theory, a win would move us 1 point off the top 4 with the same games played. So that's an interesting one. Everton, they're on 10 points. They can move above us with a win. So after their disastrous start to the season, apparently, and Lampard being sacked, or supposedly being sacked, they could move on to 13 points with us on 12. So it's going to be interesting for sure. It's also, my live table's got Arsenal leading 3-2.
Yeah, apparently. So I've been catching a glimpse at the bottom of my eye to see what happened, because before I just came on here, Jesus nearly died, and then and I was just there like, he just bumped into his own player, and then that Greek guy, I forgot the left back's name for Liverpool. Tsimikas. I couldn't give a flying monkeys about him, but he elbowed him, and my mate went, "Is he dead?" I just started laughing my head off, going, the theatrics in the Premier League never stop. But
no. To quote a certain famous manager that we had once, he could have killed him. Could have killed him, I'm sure. Just going to bring up this comment. So Raz says, I'm pretty happy with the team. I'm not a big fan of Martial, but he looked pretty solid since Ten Hag took over. Looking forward to see him. So we have the perfect person on the stream to ask about this, because we've got an official member of Martial FC, right, Tone? I mean, you love it.
I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that deluded. Martial has rubbish games where he couldn't score. He couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. But he is one of them players for me where he has that world class finish about him. He has that look, where a certain player where you can just look at him and he just has that flair. And the problem with Martial isn't his ability, because I think his ability has never been questioned. It's his consistency. It's there, like, he has a couple of games here where he can score 4 goals in 3 games, and then there's 10 games where he can't hit a shot on target. Yeah. And under Ten Hag, I know pre-season's pre-season, and I don't think you can judge a player on a pre-season tour, because how many players have we seen that have looked world class on pre-season? Then it comes to the real games, and they just don't look at it.
Andrea Pereira, although he's got a banger today, you see.
I didn't watch the early kickouts. I watched the NFL.
He's got a banger, yeah.
I'll have to watch that match a day. But he's Martial for me is, Ten Hag's basically come out and said that Martial is fit. He will play every game. He loves Martial. He does the tracking back. He can break through the lines. He's a good in build-up play. He's one of them players for me that just has so much flair. You know what? We were justified as well when we said on Thursday as well that Ronaldo wasn't going to start. I think everyone knew that, but people on Twitter were going, Ronaldo's going to start, and I was just there like, it's not happening. Unfortunately, it's not the Ronaldo that we want to see at the moment. And Ten Hag, isn't going to start him whilst he's playing the way he is, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's not. Speaking of players with flair, we've got ex-Premier League striker Nathan Ellington in the house. He's saying 3-1 win for Martial, Rashford, and Bruno to get the goals. And him and his son are both members of Martial FC, by the way. They are huge, huge Martial fans. And he's put Martial is a baller, and with a team that can provide, he will bang 20 plus if he stays fit for sure. Just want to touch on that, Nath, like the key word being if, right? Like, I have no doubt that Martial is a top quality striker, like absolute top quality. Ballon d'Or clause, maybe not, but like 50 million down the drain, probably not either. I think he's a great footballer. It's just that, like I said, he's been here 7 years, and the best part of his United career was 10 minutes into his debut against Liverpool, because he's not kicked on from that and he's not had the consistency, right? He's probably had a good season and a half out of 7. Not entirely his fault, obviously. Like, there's been things that have come in and upset the apple cart. He's been injured. He's had managers that haven't fancied him, etc., etc. But he's not quite done it. However, I know you said you can't really judge pre-season, but what I will say is that this pre-season was the best I've seen Martial play. I'm not talking about return or goals. I'm talking about all-round game. I thought he was very, very good in pre-season. And that excited me. And then, unfortunately, only to play, 45 minutes of the season or whatever, was a big shame, a real big shame. But whenever he's come on or whenever he started or whatever, he looks good. So I agree with this, which says if he can stay fit, he's definitely our best centre-forward at the moment. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. I don't think people think that Rashford's the answer at number 9. And I don't think the current Ronaldo at number 9 is the answer either. And there's not really anyone else that's ready. I like Charlie McNeil, but he's not ready. And we don't really have anyone else to call on, right? So, I mean, what's your thoughts? Surely he's our best centre forward, right?
Talking about the 20 goals season, I hope he does, because I've got a bet on it with one of my friends. I had a handshake bet where I said I think it was 20 or 50 quid, because pre-season did blur my eyes a little bit. I must admit, when I was watching Martial play, because like you said, that was the best I've ever seen him play in build-up play and things like that. Do I think he'll get 20 goals? I think he could easily get 20 goals in all competitions if he stays fit. But staying fit's another thing. Like I said, he picks up these little knocks that seem to take weeks upon weeks to come back from. And yeah, he is our best centre forward. Absolutely. I know even with Ronaldo in the team, he's considered the best centre forward we've got, which is, if you said that to us 4 years ago, how crazy would that statement have sounded? But now here we are.
You wouldn't believe it, right? Have you seen the other one doing the rounds on Twitter at the moment? Someone had 15 quid on Haaland to score 40 or more goals this season at 100 to 1. So it returns 1,500 quid. And their cash out they're being offered at the moment is 560. So 560 quid from 15 quid. But obviously he's on course to absolutely smash 40 goals. But it's crazy, right? Because one injury would knock you out. But that's crazy that it was 100 to 1 pre-season. And I think if you lay it now, you get about 3 to 1. You get under 3 to 1.
The world moves so quickly. You remember the Nunes versus Haaland shouts where everyone was there like Nunes is going to outscore Haaland, all this stuff. Have you seen the petition going on ahead in the House of Parliament petitions where they're trying to get Haaland deported? I just think it's brilliant that people are talking about this guy as this non-human entity because yesterday he could have had 4 goals, and it's mental that.
It's crazy. I haven't seen that, but I have seen a golfer came up with a handicap system for Haaland. So it was once he's scored 1 goal, he has to play the rest of the game carrying Phil Foden in his back. Yeah. Or if he scores 1 goal or if he scores 2 goals, he then has to play the rest of the game with some Norwegian Viking helmet thing stuck on his head. They need to handicap him in some way, because at the moment he's just an absolute animal. But last word on Martial. Raz says, I feel like since he came to us, Martial showed glimpses of what he can do in a good system. And now that Ten Hag is trying to put a system in play, we might see a world-class Martial this season. You know what? That's really, really interesting, because if you look at when we had the best Anthony Martial, apart from lockdown season, it was probably under Louis van Gaal, right? And Louis van Gaal is a system coach. We had a system coach and an actual technical coach in Louis van Gaal. We then went down the route of hiring a winner in Jose Mourinho, hiring someone kind of unproven in Solskjaer, and now we've gone back to a coach in Ten Hag. So maybe there is something in the fact that Martial plays better under coaches that actually get the best out of him. And you've made a good comment when Nath pops in and says you bang on. Like you don't bang in goals for West Brom and everyone like that, do you? You don't play under Brian Robson if you're not a good player who knows what they're talking about. So big up, Nath. Big up yourself. So we'll move on to predictions, man. So you're more of an optimist than me. I used to be a massive optimist, but I had it beaten out of me. So come at me. You got to be predicting a win, right? I can't have you on here and you're predicting a loss.
I think with that front three we have to win. I could just cut, but the only thing is the frailties with Casemiro and CDM in that position, that centre midfield position, where I think, like I said, McTominay has that defensive attitude that Casemiro might not have. But then at the end of the day, that defense, Everton's defense, doesn't scare me. That doesn't make me think that the front three of that caliber should be scoring at least 3 goals. But I do think we're going to concede today. I do think with Lindelof at the back, Casemiro will probably concede a set piece. I'd like to say 3-1 to United. I hope it's 3-1 to United. If we take 3 points back against for the Omnia return fixture on Thursday, that will somehow be 3-2 again. I'm joking.
I'm sure you're going to get hate for that, because this is the thing, right? When people don't watch football that much, and if they just listen and hear McTominay's got the defensive capabilities that Casemiro doesn't, they'd scream at you and they'd be like, Casemiro has been one of the best CDMs in the world in a team that's won 4 Champions Leagues. Like you can't call that. And literally, Nate's saying the thing here, Casemiro frail. I'd be more scared of Lindelof and Martinez partnership. That is also a worry, by the way.
No. All I'm saying about Casemiro, I'm never saying he's frail in a sense of, but you look at that team at Real Madrid who's backed up by Kroos and Modric. Like Kroos does Casemiro's doing the dirty work with Kroos, whereas with Casemiro in that United team, who's doing the dirty work with him?
It has to be Eriksen, doesn't it?
It has to be Eriksen.
Okay, yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Casemiro was one of the best midfielders of a generation at Real Madrid. Right now, it's almost there. Like coming into this United team, have we seen any of that glimpse? I don't think we've seen any real glimpse of what he was like at Real Madrid. But like I said, I hope to be proven wrong. I really do.
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, like I love Casemiro. I want him to work in a Manchester United shirt, and I probably think he will, to be honest. Like,
of course he will.
He's too class not to. But if you think so far that it's proven to be a great sign and it's proven that he's going to be a success, I'm sorry, you're suffering from the same syndrome like the Donny van der Beek fans suffered with, where you're seeing glimpses and you're seeing things that don't really exist and you're wanting him to do well. So you're seeing these great performances. It's like, actually remove the names off the back of the shirts. In those 4 games that we won, McTominay was like a 7-8 out of 10. Casemiro's not really putting above a 6, maybe 1 7 out of 10 sub appearance so far. But he's been like a solid 6 kind of thing. So it's like, for me, he's not done enough yet to justify all this loving for him. In his career, of course he has, right? Absolutely, of course he has. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's, like I said, one of the top 3 CDMs in the world. Whether he's the CDM that fits in Ten Hag's system and he's going to improve this Man United team, remains to be seen, right? We've got Nath saying he's got no legs. Yes, but I agree he needs help unless you have Varane and Martinez at the back. I guess he's saying if you have Varane and Martinez, then you push higher up, and then those 2 are obviously closer to Casemiro, so you've got them 3 working together. But I still think in the Premier League, and you need a 4th. I don't know if the Arsenal game's finished yet or whatever, but Liverpool played. It has. Is it 3-2?
3-2 Arsenal. Yeah, Liverpool lost again. Yes.
And the thing is, like Liverpool this season, I mean, Klopp went maverick today. He went and played 4 strikers basically. He played Jota, Nunes, Salah, and who's the Diaz. So he played those 4, and he only played. He played 2 in midfield. He played Thiago and Henderson. And I'm like, that's probably going to get overrun by a midfield 3 of like Xhaka, Partey and Odegaard, right? So it's like, if you've got 3 players on 2, the 3 are probably going to outrun the 2. So that would worry me if you were only going to play Casemiro, that he's in that spot. Bruno tends to drift high up. So Bruno doesn't really occupy that space either. So that leaves Casemiro and Eriksen today against Everton's midfield 3. And that worries me a bit. That's all I'm saying. Like, there was an argument, not even for McTominay today. Let's take him out of this. There's an argument for like Casemiro, Fred, and Eriksen in the 10. There's an argument for that, so you can kind of battle their midfield. Because at the end of the day, like, we are going to have to be competitive. We are going to have to fight in there. And Raz says, also, La Liga is not as fast and physical as the Prem. I'm sure he'll get fit for the Prem soon. He's definitely a baller. Yeah. Obviously, like, people comparing leagues is crazy. I mean, we wanted to sign half of Ajax's team, right? And like, just because people are good in the Eredivisie doesn't mean they're going to be amazing in the Premier League. And just because people are amazing in La Liga doesn't mean they're going to be amazing in the Premier League either. Different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But I didn't give my prediction, did I? So before we go, I'm going to give my prediction, and then I'm going to end the stream because people are going to hate on me, obviously. But before I give my prediction, because I don't want to run off, put a thing at the bottom. Please like the video, comment, share, and subscribe. Please do all that. It helps to grow the channel. Big shout out to Tone for coming on today. I'm at half-time or full-time, and we'll get our opinions on a Man United win. But on that Man United win, I'm not going to predict a Man United win, unfortunately. I'm going to predict a 2-2 draw.
James, Desmond.
That's been Tone. I'm sorry. With Football and Fitness United. We'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.
See you later.